Okay folks, hello. It's been a little while since I've done a proper video. It is just after 12 o'clock on Monday. It's about 10 past 12 I think, to be exact. And although you wouldn't believe it to look around, let's have a look at well, it's a little bit windy. It's windy. But look at the sky. Look at the sky. Let me step to one side. We got clear blue overhead, pretty much, with the odd cloud. But those over there and those ones over there, you see how they're kind of fluffy and they rise high. They have kind of a flattish base and then they rise high. Then there's thunder clouds. Well, rain clouds at least, but if they rise high enough, and over there, I mean, look at those are quite formidable. Them there are thunder clouds, and that's where the wind's coming. It feels like it's coming from over there, but it's deceptive here. I don't know if you can just see those flags. There's a flag through there going in the opposite direction to how the wind feels to me. We're at the bottom of a couple of hills and the wind kind of swirls around the hills, so it gets a little bit deceptive. Yeah, a couple of flags over there, just to the side of the tent in the distance. Don't know how well that's showing on camera. But the reason for the video, folks, the reason for the video is within the next 2 hours there's a significant chance of thunder and lightning and rain and all that good stuff going on for about the next 30 hours. Now the percentage each hour is like, some of them are 30 and 40%, but some of them are 70-80% chance. So we'll have to see how that goes. But we had quite a wet spring. But we've had a horrendously dry summer with literally, less than half an hour of light rain for the entirety of summer. So to suddenly have thunder and lightning forecasts, I guess we need the rain, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this one goes, folks. Updates to follow, I guess, later. Okay folks, it is about 1:45 and the forecast was for thunder and lightning about now. We've just had the first clap of thunder. My friend Karen, slightly south of here, has just had rain. So I guess it's about to begin. Let's take a quick look around. So here we are facing kind of south-ish towards Torrevieja, and there are some clouds off to the west and around, headed kind of northwest and off to the north a little bit. Here, still kind of clear skies directly above, although I did just feel a droplet hit my cheek. I guess wherever it's falling from, it's getting pushed towards me by the wind, possibly from just above. We actually look like we might just skirt it, we might just miss it slightly. I'm not sure. It depends on the wind, which is difficult to judge just here, like I said earlier. I can't see the flags. I can't see the flags from here. Yeah, there's one. Hold on. Can I see the flag? I'll have to zoom. Somewhere just through there, to the right of the hoarding, there's a flag. Just to the right of that tree, is it? Yeah, there you go. It looks to be roughly south-ish. So the clouds that we've got coming in might just miss. If on a good day with the wind in the right direction. Let me zoom back out. We got kind of clouds, some cloud above, but the worst is way off to the west. So if the wind just sweeps straight up from the south, we might miss the worst of it. Although I've said this before many times, it doesn't always happen that way, folks. It's difficult to tell the exact direction of the wind. I guess we'll wait and see. I've closed the outer door on the other side of the tent, so it's not just the mosquito net there. I've put the proper outer door down. I'll seal the door this side once it starts raining. I guess we'll just have to weather it and see. I just realised I've got a couple of cushions outside that I can take inside, just to save myself from some drying time after. Yeah, I've definitely got, it's definitely spotting now, or spitting, whichever word you prefer for that. But here we go, folks, here we go. The first proper rain of autumn, I guess. I guess this will mark the demarcation between summer and into autumn. I know astronomically, technically, that happened already on the 22nd or 23rd of September, but here we go. Later, folks, later. Well, it's not that much later, folks. It's about 10 seconds later. I just brought in 4 cushions, and before I'd even picked them up, it was raining proper. Updates to follow, I guess. Okay, folks, Delta Mike down and out in Torrevieja. Down and out. A tramp, a vagrant, a hobo, a homeless guy. All those other synonyms that I use in the TrampCast. Torrevieja, a city on the southeast coast of Spain. Can I ask you to maybe take a moment out to hit that like button? Maybe share this out there on social media if you're enjoying what you're seeing. And subscribe, or at least consider it if you haven't done so already. If you've seen more than 2 or 3 of my videos, and you think you're going to see more, hit the button. It helps the channel, and it helps you to not miss a video. Okay, folks, Delta Mike, out. Okay, folks, it's about 10 to 5 Monday afternoon, and it's kind of spitting right now, but to be honest, there hasn't really been anything. We've had probably a total of half an hour of spitting, and this is including that rain at was it quarter to 2 when it started. I'll show you the sky. So we're off kind of south-ish, off there. Off to the west, it's darker. And off, what, northwest and north. The sky's quite dark, but nothing. Now the forecast is all for 8 o'clock onwards now. See, there's still patches of blue sky off to the east and a little bit to the south. Don't know, folks. Hopefully it passes us by. I don't really want a huge thunderstorm. Don't really want huge thunderstorms. Partly my doggie doesn't like the thunder. We did have quite a bit of thunder earlier. That went on a while. The thunder went on longer than the rain. but it's just spitting. It's something and nothing. I mean, if you look at the solar panel, I mean, it's nothing. It's really nothing. So I guess we'll wait and see. Maybe we'll get some spectacular thunder and lightning coverage later. Or maybe we won't. Who knows? Alright folks, that's it for now. Laters. Okay folks, a little turn of events. So, clouds, when the wind was coming from the south and blowing the clouds that away, now the wind has done a 180-degree turn and is now bringing it, roughly speaking, from the north or northwest. So the clouds that have already passed over are now going to come back over us. And if we take a look, they're very dark. Very dark. They've passed over us once and now they're going to come back. But let's take a look around here. And you see something I was discussing earlier. You see that cloud there with the flat bottom, and then those rising columns, and then a flat top on the top, almost like an anvil. The clouds are billowing upwards. That's a thundercloud. Those are storm clouds, rain and thunder. The dark grey, obviously rain, but the rising column and then the flat tops, that's your thunder. And those ones are starting to billow upwards the same. You've got the flat bottom and they billow upwards. And over there, I'm still hopeful most will pass us by and not be too problematic. Bit of rain would be nice for the soil and the field and for Spain in general, but I don't want too much. And it is kind of bright over on the horizon, or there are some brighter patches. But because the wind's changed direction, that's the stuff that's going to come back over us in the next hour or two. There you go folks. That is the anatomy of a kind of storm cloud. Like I said, hopefully not too bad. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, later. Okay folks, here we go at last. Some actual fucking rain. It is now raining. This is the first proper rain. I was just chatting with a friend and saying how I thought the weather forecast had overhyped this. But it looks like we're about to start with the proper stuff. I'm gonna just step inside rather rapidly. Oh, it's slowing off now. Hold on, maybe I'll stay outside for an extra second or three. I am a little damp. The if you can see the solar panel is proper full on wet now. That was just a short blast. Let's take a quick look around. You're facing east, roughly, and off down south-ish. There's clear blue skies in there, look, that's quite light. But off to the west, look at this. Now, above me isn't that bad, that's quite light. The camera, my screen on the phone shows that it's quite dark, but it's actually a lot lighter than that appears. Over there's the proper dark stuff. And then off, what, northwest, and finally north, and that's not too bad. I don't know, it's, and back towards the east. It feels like it's pretty much stopped. Flash in the pan. hopefully, like I said, I don't want to be recording a video that ends up in my... I got a playlist called The Rain in Spain Falls Mainly on Me. From all the times when I've had a broken tent and torrential rain and flooding and all that good stuff. If you've seen my videos when I had a tent that all the walls and all the roof had gone away and I had just the poles and tarps, a patchwork of tarps over the top of the poles. I think I'm sitting pretty at the minute. If we look at the tent is pretty much intact, and it's covered by this huge tarpaulin, which actually is on sideways and still covers 90% of the tent. I could actually rotate this tarpaulin 90 degrees and it would cover the entire tent from ground to ground on all four sides. I just accidentally put it on wrong on the day that I put it on. I was doing it on my own with a bit of a breeze. It was blowing a fucking gale. I put it on, it's secured. I've got these clips holding it on and holding it in place. They've done a pretty good job without damaging the tarp too much, and I'd probably rather not mess, to be honest. If I unclipped everything and rotated the whole thing and clipped it back up, I'd probably mess up, get caught or snagged on some bush or other and have it torn to bits. So I've avoided that since, was it April or May when we got the new tent up? I was about to say when I got the new tent up. That would be doing some of my friends a disservice. Karen and family. Karen's husband, really, but yeah. But yeah, I think we've still got some storm to come. The weather forecast is quite adamant that between 8 and midnight it's going to be quite rough. I guess we'll see. But I think I'm sitting pretty for this one for once, folks. Famous last words. My only concern is the drainage ditch that they built or dug at the top of the field is overgrown where the ditch meets the road. Some really big plants. Oh, I think they're like bamboo. I mean, they're taller than me. And that could have implications if rain comes down the road and brings detritus with it, wood and stuff. It could create a dam and cause it to overflow into the field, as it used to do when I first moved here. The first night the field flooded, and exactly 1 month later it flooded again, ruined everything I owned. Don't want that to happen again. So yeah, that's the only worry. But to be honest, that needs like 5 hours of torrential rain, and the weather forecast isn't talking about anything like that. You're talking about fractions of a millimetre per hour, something and nothing. Okay, folks, it is still spitting, but it's nothing to worry about at this point. Catch you later. Okay, folks, proper real rain, and both my doors are wide open. I probably need to go look at that. Can you see above the door? The rain that's dripping is probably landing inside the tent, so I probably need to go and look at that pretty sharpish before we end up really, really wet in here. Give me a second, I'm just going to go and do that now. Okay, folks, you would not believe how much water came in through the side door at this side where Tina goes in and out. The door that she's broken a little bit, and I was too slow to put the outer. All summer we've just used the mesh, the mosquito net, and I left it too long to put the proper door down, the outer door. To be honest, the outer door will blow inwards. It needs the mosquito net in place to stop it blowing in, but the mosquito net doesn't fasten properly anymore because dog. So we got quite a lot of water leaked already over there where I was too slow to close it. I've put the proper door over the other door, the other side. I put that down, but again, the bottom flap can blow in, and that means the water can run down the door and be deposited inside. So I have to watch for that. It's not a brilliant design. That's the one weakness. Well, that and the fact that it's like it's an arch, which means if the door is open at all, water gets part way down and then drips, and from where it drips in the roof, it lands inside the tent. So you got to be careful of that when it rains. But you can hear, hopefully you can hear the rain. You can hear the rain such as it is. It's quite heavy. It's the first proper rain all day. I will have inserted screen grabs of the weather forecast from earlier today. And you can see how they kind of overhyped it. They had thunder and lightning almost every hour all day long, and it didn't really happen. We had half an hour of thunder, 10 minutes of it spitting, but nothing much. This is the first proper rain, and I've had to put a towel down inside the door to soak up the water. I think we'll be all right. That was me being too slow. I was just laying here, kind of admiring the fact it was raining, and all along it was dripping off the tarpaulin and landing just inside the door. If I could pull the tarp out and secure it with some cordage, it would have all just landed on the floor outside. I might look at that for when it next rains. It got a bit hot in here this afternoon after I'd closed both doors, and then it rained minimally, but we lost the through draft. If I could leave the doors open and pull the tarp outwards such that water drips further away. There are a couple of holes in the tarp. The water will hit the tent, run down and drip inside from the doorway. It doesn't all run on the tarpaulin, but I can probably patch some of the. I just found one hole that's like you can put your thumb through in the tarpaulin. I can patch that with duct tape, and that should reduce a lot of the leakage. I'd rather the water wasn't getting onto the tent, but the things that I would rather happen don't carry much weight with Mother Nature. Okay folks, updates to follow again, I guess. Catch you later. Oh, let's see if we can. Oh, keep my hand out the fucking way. Let's see whether ship. Okay, I got friends messaging me. There we go. Here's Tina. Hey Tina. Hey Tina. Talk to the peoples. Tina? Talk to the peoples. Hey babe. Here she is. That's my Tina girl. Okay. From Tina and from me, later. Okay folks, 2:20, Monday night into Tuesday morning, and well, I guess you can hear that. It's been that ever since I woke up an hour ago, and for all I can tell, it's been like that since 10 o'clock last night. That's quite heavy and quite consistent. I'm laying here watching a video and I can't hear the video. It's a good job it's got subtitles. A little bit concerned. I commented earlier that if we had 4 or 5 hours of torrential rain, the drainage ditch at the top of the road might not do its job. So I'm looking around at what's on the floor and lifting anything of value open off the floor because it could flood. You can't rule out that possibility. Let's hope it quietens off for a bit and any drainage systems further up the hill or up the hills can do their thing. Let's see. Okay folks, later. Okay folks, it is 9 o'clock the morning after, and wow, kind of devastation in the camp. Let's have a look at some things. So down here on the floor, this pile of stones wasn't here. This has all been washed down from this path, which is formerly a dry riverbed. But I walked the dog at 3 in the morning, and the amount of water that was coming down through the field and down the road that's supposed to be swept off by this drainage ditch at the top of the road, top of the field, then it goes over the road and down the other side and into a gully off to the sea. That's what it's meant to do, but it's so backed up and clogged up where the drainage ditch meets the road that a lot of it again was coming down through the field. You can see the pattern on the ground. You can see where water was. Look how this grass has all been kind of knocked over, blown. You can just see the patterns in the run. And down here's incredible. Look at this black box here. This is like a drawer. This is a piece of furniture that we had stood back here in the middle of the field, putting resting solar panels against when Joby was here. And these big clumps of grass that have blown through. Tina's chariot, Tina's wheelchair was up. It was back here. How that's ended up down there is beyond me. And loads of other stuff that's been thrown around. If I just step through these empty water bottles which I keep. Look at these logs. These logs. These were nowhere. These logs, I recognise some of them, but some of them, I think that they're from over here, under the clothes dryer. Those logs were to hold the clothes made in place. How the hell they've got over here? That's incredible. Like I said, the doggy wheelchair, the doggy chariot was 3 meters back that way. And if we come through here, well, let me show you some other stuff. Wow. This frying pan was soaking over here. I was going to do a big clean-up. Look at the other pans. They're full of shite. That That's incredible. Let's have a look what else. Oh yeah, there's this pot. This pot was back there in the cooking area. Bottles I knew would move, but there's a bike pump that's moved. This is crazy. Here's a Tina. The last I saw, she was inside the tent. What are you doing out? Buggalugs? Here's Tina. Hey, babe. You stay there, because you're dragging yourself around in mud. We can see the patterns on the ground where the waters run and where the grass has been flattened. Look at it. Three o'clock this morning, I had to step across some water and I got it wrong. I put my foot into what I thought was just a shallow puddle. My foot went ankle deep in water. It was really quite incredible. We took a walk up to the top to see where the water crosses the road and it's supposed to run off, and it was just sitting there and pooling and then running this way down the road. I don't know if you'll be able to see at this distance. The road kind of flattens out. There's a concrete base that's lower to try and channel the water off to the side. But yeah. Now in fairness, it rained solidly. Once it started last night, it just didn't stop until half an hour ago, maybe a little bit more. Torrential, most of it. So we did have, what, 9-10 hours of torrential rain. All the weather forecasts had talked about 2 or 3 millimeters of rain in total. No. I've seen other forecasts since that talk about 100 millimeters. That sounds more like it from what I've seen. Okay folks, I guess that brings an end to the story. The rain that was predicted all day yesterday that never came, and then when it did at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, once it started properly, that was it, through till morning. You can see, oh, we're still zoomed in. You can see from all these clumps of grass that have washed down from various places. You can see just from the state of the road and these dark patches where water has run down and then slopes off towards my tent. I guess I've got a bit of tidying up to do once it starts to dry out a bit. I'll probably leave it while lunch, see what the weather does, and then give it an hour this afternoon just to pick things up and move things back where they belong. Okay folks, let's see, she's out here, isn't she? She's out here. Okay, in the tradition of the channel, from Tina and from me, Delta Mike, out.